Good morning. Welcome to the Gadsden City Council meeting. I would like to remind everyone to please make sure that all cell phones are turned to the off or vibrate position. Also, please be advised our city council meetings are broadcast on Comcast Channel 99, AT&T UVerse, and the City of Gadsden YouTube channel. This meeting of the Gadsden City Council will now come to order. The chair calls on City Clerk Ivan Nelson for the roll call.
Councilwoman Latham.
Present.
Councilman Smith.
Here.
Councilman Avery.
Here.
Councilman Back.
Here.
Councilman Wilson.
Here.
Councilwoman Menatra.
Here.
And Councilman Robinson.
Here.
We have a quorum present and our meeting is open for business. I'm going to ask Heath Williamson to lead the invocation. Please stand and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the opportunities to serve you in this manner, Father. We do ask for your continued blessings and acknowledge all the blessings that you've freely given us. Just thank you, Father, for your love, your grace, and your mercy. Jesus, most of all, Father, and help us to honor you, glorify you with all that we do, say, and think. We do pray for your wisdom, guidance, knowledge, and discernment, Father, to just bless the council, the mayor, and his staff, Father, with all the decisions that have to be made. We give you all the praise and the glory. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The chair will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the work session and the regular and special city council meetings held on August 1st.
So moved. Second.
Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to approve minutes.
Item 6, the chair will entertain a motion to ratify payment of account for the week of July 28th through August 3rd.
So moved. Second.
Those in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to ratify payment of the accounts.
Item 7 is reserved for proclamations and commendations. We don't have any of those specifically today, but many of you are aware we've had some really bad weather in the last few weeks here in Gadsden, and there's been a lot of good things happen as a result of that. And Brett Johnson, the mayor's chief of staff, is going to recognize some folks and just kind of describe the help that's been given to our city. It's just been outstanding to see the outpouring of support that we've received from so many people and so many citizens. Not to discount our own Public Works Department and our EMA department. They've been working around the clock to put things back to some kind of order. So, Brett, thank you for recognizing these folks. Thank you for being here.
Yes, sir, and I appreciate that intro because in lieu of the commendations that Mayor Ford would like to issue, I think we might run out of paper at City Hall.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to mention as many as we can, and I feel confident we'll miss somebody because there's so many people and organizations that came out to help. But I have up here kind of the mayor's staff that was boots on the ground alongside Derek Mummert with the EMA to hit some different perspectives of appreciation for supporting our city and our residents. First of all, from the fire department's perspective, during the heat of a storm, a lot of times we run all kinds of EMS calls, all kinds of fire calls. You can only imagine the types of calls that come in, and every asset's typically deployed at the same time. So when we do that, we rely on our neighboring cities to come and alleviate and make sure emergencies still get responses and professional attention. So a couple of fire departments and EMS agencies that supported us, we want to thank Rainbow City for coming and helping us cover the downtown area. The city of Attala covered Alabama City, the Walnut Park area, and the airport area. Glencoe Fire Department covered East Gadsden and also assisted with a chainsaw crew up on the mountain. Ball Play Bend Fire Department assisted with a thermal drone immediately in the aftermath. Several large pine trees fell down on some hot spots in the world's longest yard sale. And even though it was searched immediately, we needed to bring out some thermal drones to make sure no one was missed, and they brought that out, and that was helpful. Piedmont Rescue, at one point there was no ambulance available in the city of in Etowah County, as a matter of fact, because of the medical responses. And Piedmont Rescue sent 2 units out here, even with the storm headed their way at the same time. and Advantage and AMED ambulance services for all they did to make sure we got medical responses to our citizens and people to the hospital for treatment. I also want to thank Misty Lemons, dispatch. Misty Lemons is in the fire department in the administrative office, and she's also actually has experience in dispatch, and she jumped in and took phone calls when they were overwhelmed and helped us make sure we had responses in a timely fashion. So those are just a few. Like I said, Mayor Ford brought to the table when he took office this military leadership perspective of chain of command, which I think has paid off significantly. That's why all these people were here with their respective areas. Two more areas I want to kind of mention is, one, I want to thank the local and state media for helping us get the word out about the resources we had available. And then also the yard sale shoppers and vendors that helped us work around public works crews, utility crews, the ones that were cooperative, we deeply appreciate for sure. So next I want to call it Ruth Moffitt.
Well, good morning.
Morning.
All right, so my area that I kind of focus on is what we call the EOC, which is the Emergency Operations Center. And so in conjunction with that, typically following a small to large scale disaster, you're going to have what we use a lot of acronyms, the VRC, which is the Volunteer Reception Center. At the aftermath of any type of disaster, you have a lot of people that come out and want to help. And so we want to do it in a way that we can do it safely. But the important part to know about the VRC is that this is how we're able to give that information back to FEMA or back to the governor's office to get reimbursements. And I want to say that publicly because we have a lot of people that want to do a lot of great things, but if you don't register, if you don't sign up, we can't count it. And so it's very, very, very important. In this case, we opened up the DRC, and we did that because people were without utilities for a significant amount of time. So we knew that that was going to really hinder them in their ability to eat, thinking about our critical populations, our seniors, people that are disabled, that may not be able to get out, and how do we get food to them. So we called on some partners, and I kind of want to highlight some. At the top of this, it really warmed my heart. One of the things I like about living in the South, I say that we like our sweet tea, our fried chicken, and our apple pie. So I'm a foodie. Okay, so Judge Hassel, I really want to highlight, he came out and brought his canteen. He initially came out shirt and tie. He came back with the canteen with a t-shirt and some blue jeans, rolled up his sleeves to start cooking hamburgers and hot dogs and all of those good things. Marie Johnson with Etowah County Food Bank, we made one phone call to her. She was tied up with some reunion stuff. She dropped those things that she was doing. And I just want to kind of give you some soft numbers. I won't run through everything, but 300 hot dogs and buns, 275 hamburgers with buns, 22 pounds of meat, 15 cases of chips, and the list goes on and on. But she pulled up, raised up the trunk, and there we were. We were cooking hamburgers and hot dogs right out there. And we used our VOAD and our CERT teams to go up in those areas, feed responders, take water. So I really want to thank our transportation, Tim Dale. He kind of spearheaded that, and we put waters and Gatorade on our transportation buses, but we also offered to go to different areas and pick up individuals if they didn't have a way to get there, because we understood that it was damaged even outside of that area up there. And let me put a pin and say this, because someone asked this question. Whenever there's a disaster, a VRC and a DRC is typically located close to the disaster site. Not on top of it, but close to it. It's open to everyone that experiences any type of damage from that disaster. So anyone can come. And so it's important to say that because we don't deal with this every day, so a lot of times people don't know how it works. But you could come from anywhere if you experienced any type of damage. I don't know if you've seen the pictures, but Lee Bean, who is the executive director of Catholic Center of Concern, but lives in Birmingham, actually got in his vehicle, drove back to Gadsden, Alabama, and provided 70 bags of groceries at a cost of about $50 a bag. That is very significant because people that didn't have, still didn't have access to utilities, he provided just a bag full of dry goods. In conjunction with that, we had some nonprofits to show up and help out. It's Your Move, which deals with the total man, but their focus is mental health. And that's really important because some people were caught up in the grips of this storm. Definitely want to mention Church of the Highlands. Pastor Mark Price is the pastor there. Also, Pastor Kyle Cantrell. So I don't want to give, I said I had a small dissertation, but I have to tell this. So we had a family up there, the husband, the wife, 2 children, 7-year-old daughter, 14-year-old daughter. Their vehicle actually went airborne, went up in the air. The dad gets on top of the 7-year-old to hold him down, and he begins to tell this story of how he prayed harder than he had ever prayed in his life. And they're in the air. And about that time, a tree hit the vehicle and knocked them back down. That family was so shaken that you could see it on them. Pastor Kyle Cantrell was there at that moment. And that's why we need mental health there when things are like that are going on. He came in and began to pray with that family and began to talk to that family. Wife said very little but cried the entire time. And we have to be mindful that children that endure that type of thing, even adults, but at 7 years old, what she experienced, I talked to her afterwards and she wouldn't even talk. So we have to be cognizant of the aftermath. When these storms are gone, we're still dealing with the aftermath of them. So a huge thank you to them. And then American Red Cross, Giant Resource Recovery, Family Success Center, Riverview Regional brought plates. They didn't ask us to come and get them. They delivered them to us. So let me give you some numbers. I know I'm probably missing someone, not intentionally. United Ways 211, they took calls for us on the at the very beginning. Ricky Johnson with mental health. 241 households came and signed up. 597 people, and this does not include families that had over 4 people in the family. We had some families that had 4 to 6 individuals in that family. Volunteers, we had 62 that signed in and worked the Disaster Resource Center. That's not including crews that went out. This is people that came in, took meals wherever they needed to go, took waters, took Gatorades, took whatever was needed out in the field. So a huge thank you to our entire community, because one person can't do all of this. It takes us to collectively come together to make this a success and make it happen. So thank you to everyone.
All right, I'm gonna be a little shorter. I'm just kidding, Ruth. So Thursday, about 2 o'clock, the storm centers came in. We had those warnings, and we were down in dispatch in the EOC, and the storm come blowing through, and we're hearing call after call after call after call, just trees down, power lines down. It was a pretty terrible situation up there. So I'm up here to publicly thank Alabama Power for all the work that those guys have done. When I was up there on Thursday, it was just, you go around one corner and there was a tree down. You go around another corner, there was a power line across the roads. And it was a very, terrible scene up there. So those guys sometimes get a bad rap when it comes to public and things like that. So we personally want to thank those guys for all that they've done. I want to give you some quick numbers. On August the 3rd, on Thursday at 3 p.m., when that storm come rolling through, there was almost 15,000 homes without power. There were 240 incidences. By Friday at 10 p.m., they were down to 350 homes that were out. And then by 3 o'clock on Saturday afternoon, they had pretty much given back power to anyone who could accept power. So my hat's off to those guys, because when they come rolling in, it's pretty impressive. They don't bring in 2 or 3 trucks. They bring in 300 or 400 trucks. They had over 330 personnel with boots on the ground up there at Nakalula Falls working on getting our power back. So I thought that was a pretty good number. And 55 broken poles that they had to replace up there on Nakalula Mountain. So my hat's off to those guys for the hard work that they do. Another group that I'd like to thank are our local cities. My good friends, Mayor Means and Atala, sent a couple of crews over to help us on Thursday. Our good friend Joe Taylor at Rainbow City, he sent some crews over. In fact, he came up and even helped supervise and really got in there and helped us. Mayor Chris Hare from Glencoe and a good friend of mine, Scott Reese from Hokes Bluff, sent a crew over. So I'd also want to thank the county street department. They were up on the scene, or up on Knocklow Falls. They were helping us block roads off. You can imagine when you've got thousands of cars sitting on Tabor Road doing the yard selling. To get those, we actually had to shut those roads down to get the emergency equipment and the public works in there to try to help take care of those trees and those power lines. So hats off to those guys. Last but not least was yesterday, we got with our Gadsden City school system, and they volunteered to bring in the Gadsden City athletes and the coaches. So those guys showed up at about 9 o'clock yesterday morning, went out and picked up debris in people's yards up on the mountain and did a great job. And these are our young athletes. These are the future of our city. To see those guys come in and work as hard as they have, I'm excited about the future of Gadsden. Seeing these guys, they've got a great work ethic. So I'd like to introduce our new basketball coach, Coach Graves, and then his star athlete, his basketball player, which is James McFadden. And so those guys did a really great job for us, so I'd like to give those guys a round.
Well, I was only a small part of that, but on behalf of Gadsden City Schools and the athletic department, I think we were all in a meeting last week when the storm was going on, and they was like, well, we might want to get out of here. The lights was flickering, and I think all of us were kind of insensitive to, like, we didn't pay attention to what was going on. Well, then we get the phone call and say, well, it's been a disaster up on the mountain, and we're like, oh man, this is crazy. So yesterday we get up with the whole athletic department. They send a message out to everybody and the athletes. And then you get up there and you get to walk those streets and you get to see those trees uprooted and all those power lines down. And one yard we were in, his whole yard was full of stuff. And so all the athletes and all the coaches and the ADs and things, we all got, just got a chance to serve the community by going in and help someone else and help a family. And like you said, James was one of the hardest ones up there. I call him James Tarzan McFadden. He was picking up trees left and right, throwing them all over the place. And when we were leaving, he was still over in the yard going over and beyond, trying to serve the community and help the community. So we're very thankful to have athletes like that. And we're very thankful to have the opportunity to serve our community also.
One real quick thing, but yeah, these guys are here. They're serving our community and working hard for our community. And the only thing we ask is that our community comes out and supports those guys.
That's right.
Hey, for the record, John, yours wasn't that much shorter.
Mine will be. So first and foremost, I would like to thank Sheriff Jonathan Horton. There was a point in time when we needed additional officers, and he was able to assist us with that within the city limits. And then the second opportunity I had to call him was we were running out of generators and we didn't know how many more we needed. And so he was on standby to meet me or anybody else and give us generators if we ran across other people that needed them. Of course, Gadsden Police Department, you can't say enough about them. The number of guys that came in when they were off from work that worked overtime to just secure our community. I mean, we were in disaster mode and we needed some assistance, and Chief Jaggers and his crew just stepped up and filled the gap. Along with that, the operations guru, John Allred, and dispatch, he has not received any recognition, so I want y'all to know he is an operations guru. Dispatch received over 250 calls Thursday afternoon. And that's a significant amount of calls in a 3 to 4 hour period. And Rachel, she's an unsung hero that runs dispatch down there. Public Works, of course, they worked all weekend. Everyone worked overtime. The storm crew went in as soon as it was over. We had a difficult time getting trucks in and maneuvering the crowd, but they did a great job doing it. Just to give you a number, 48 loads was taken out Saturday, 43 loads on Sunday, for a total of 91 loads of debris, which was 228 tons. At one point, Ty was calling me, telling me that the trees were too large for our claw to pick them up. So we're not talking about small pine trees. We're talking about huge trees that our claw could not pick up. So we're still working to get the debris cleaned up. We'll be back. We haven't forgotten. We will be back. And then, of course, Jason Hill. At one point, Jason was in dispatch. He had a walkie-talkie in one hand, a phone in the other, and was asking for my phone. So he was doing all he could do. And then during the actual response on Saturday and Sunday, he was making sure everyone had food, water, just running errands, doing whatever needed to be done. There are so many heroes that you can't even begin to name them all, like Brett said in the beginning, but those are just a few of the heroes from my departments. Here's the biggest hero of them all.
Save the best for the last, right?
So as part of the EMA, I echo everything that these guys have said. I also want to thank the mayor and his staff. They were right there with me, shoulder to shoulder, every step of the way. From the time the notification went out until they're still right there with me. We're still working through things right now. Thank you also, guys, to the council. And there were some other people that came up and helped and volunteered. We had the Gadsden Firefighters Union Local 454. These guys came in, they called and said, hey, we're off today. We got chainsaws, where do you want us to go? They came up and cleared multiple yards, multiple houses. The Etowah County Baptist Chainsaw Crew, a lot of people know them as the Yellow Shirts. They're very distinguishable. The Church of the Highlands Disaster Response Team, I met with a few of those people on Friday morning. We went out and did some damage assessment first thing. They had crews on the ground by 12 o'clock Friday. Saturday, they had 3 crews working in 3 areas and helping multiple people. And again, the Gadsden City Titans athletes, the football, the boys and girls basketball, softball team, baseball, volleyball, and wrestling. We had multiple CERT volunteers come in and assist with the DRC, the VRC, handing out food, water, whatever we needed. We also had people just come in and were like, hey, I've got a chainsaw and I've got a chain and I've got a truck. Where do you need me? We had a few towing companies that were like, hey, we've got the capabilities that we can move some of these large trees without, people getting hurt or in the way, and we can help too. Over the 250 calls, we had over 300 trees down just in that area. There were over 60 homes with some kind of damage. Some were, a few shingles, and we actually had a few trees that actually went completely through a house. There was one house up on the mountain where the lady was sitting in her living room and heard what she thought was hail, went to the kitchen to look out the window, finds out it's pine cones, and if she had waited about 4 more seconds, she would have had a large oak tree on top of her. So she had just gotten out of the living room in time before that tree came all the way through her house. We here at the EMA, we cannot thank the citizens, the city, the county. We can't thank you guys enough. We're better together, and this disaster shows we can all work together and achieve a common goal. So thank you guys.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you so much.
I want to mention a couple more real quick. Congressman Adderholt, Senator Katie Britt both sent their field representatives up here immediately. Melissa Battles with Senator Britt's office, James Manasco with Adderholt, and were very helpful. They went with John door to door, carrying cleanup buckets to residents to help them clean up their houses. And then also Mr. Manasco put us in touch with the company that set up the 2 refrigerated trucks for people to store their food that was getting ready to spoil over the weekend. Also want to thank this team right here. But there's 5 of us here today. There's one missing that's a key component. There's several others, but Craig Scott with the Public Library. We kind of made him the key holder for the Mitchell Center over the weekend. So he was the first one there and the last one to leave every day. And between the 5-6 of us, I think we got about 5-6 hours of sleep over Thursday to Monday, but it was adrenaline keeping us going the whole time. So thank you to this team and thank you to the council. You guys provide the resources and support that allows the staff and all of our partners to take care of our citizens in disaster. So thank y'all, and we appreciate it.
Thank you, Brett, and thank you to the mayor's staff and all that have already been mentioned. And I agree with Derek Mummert. We're better together, and I think this does show that our county is one county and one group. Councilman Robinson, that was your district. I know that's right up where you live, so you probably had firsthand account.
I did. I was actually in my automobile driving down Bellevue when it hit, and I'm not a guy that gets scared of storms at all, but at one time I was like, these trees are about to come over on top of me. I was in the middle of something. But just the communication, I mean, it was 20 minutes later, Tina was calling me. I talked to Brett several times over the weekend. I talked to Ruth, the organization and everybody up there, and just, riding back through and assessing the damage over at Tuckahoe and then up on Scenic Highway and then over in Bellevue and Monte Vista. Just seeing the people out, the neighbors just coming together. I jumped out of the car and helped an older gentleman pulling this limb out of his driveway. I guess, just got to get that cleaned up real quick. But then somebody jumped out of the car and had a chainsaw. I was like, y'all need help, and just cut it up real small. It was just unbelievable watching everybody come together and how everybody worked together and got everything done. But it was probably I've been up there I've lived up on the mountain since 1991, and I would say it's probably the worst storm I've ever seen in that little area. So thanks to everybody. Thanks to the mayor's staff. Thanks for everything y'all did. Certain Alabama Power, unbelievable job. I mean, they were out all hours of the night, just working real hard. I saw them. I mean, and it's crazy how fast they get there after the storm. I mean, they're setting poles 20 minutes after the storm. So thanks to everybody.
Thank you. Thanks again.
And if I could,
Yes. Oh, please
Mr.
do.
President,
Anybody
I just
wanna
want to
comment?
add to this for what it's worth. Everybody knows I'm an entrepreneur by trade and a small business owner, and I hope this isn't received the wrong way by the large corporations in this community, but I say this all the time, man. Out of all those people that you just heard listed, that's a whole lot of small and independently owned businesses around here. You didn't hear about some of these major brands, so please consider that when you decide where to spend your money in this community. Like was said over and over again, we're better together, and where you spend your dollars matters. And think about who shows up when there's an emergency, who has the resources, and who is contributing to this community even when they don't have the resources, even when they can't afford to give. Those people are out there giving. So thank you to all the local, small, independently owned businesses and local charities and nonprofits that give and give and give to this community. So just keep that in mind the next time you're lining up in a double-decker drive-through fast food restaurant.
Anybody else? All right. Well, thank y'all very much. And I think to note also, we were very fortunate there was no loss of life. So we praise the Lord for that, and just grateful for all the many miracles that probably happen. Some we know about and some we don't. Well, thank you very much, those that have contributed in kind of outlining what has been happening in our city for the last few days. We will now move on to item 8 in our agenda. This is unfinished business. This is an 8A is an ordinance. This is rezoning property located at 808 South 4th Street from an O1 office district to a B2 general business district. This ordinance was presented last week for first reading. The current use of the property is a medical office, and the owner wants to establish an art gallery in the front portion of the building, which is not allowed in an office district. The property qualifies for rezoning because it abuts an existing B2 general business district. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item 8B is an ordinance rezoning property located on Fields Avenue from I-2 Heavy Industry District to I-1 Light Industry District. This ordinance was presented last week for first reading. The owners requested the rezoning because potential tenants are interested in uses that are better suited under the light industry zoning designation. The property qualifies for rezoning because it abuts an existing I-1 Light Industry District. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item 8C is an ordinance rezoning property located at 809 Vandale Boulevard from R1 One Family Residence District to I1 Light Industry District. This ordinance was presented last week for first reading. The owners purchased the property for the purpose of establishing a storage and repair garage for an automobile dealer. The property qualifies for rezoning because it abuts an existing I2 heavy industry district. The Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this ordinance. Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the ordinance, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item 9 is a resolution authorizing Senior Community Service Employment Program Host Agency Agreement. This authorizes participation in a community service and work-based job training program for older Americans sponsored through the East Alabama Regional Planning and Development Commission, and the effective date is July the 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024. The chair will entertain a motion to adopt this resolution.
So moved.
Is there any discussion? Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to adopt the resolution, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to adopt.
Item 10 is an ordinance, comes under the first reading section, amending American Rescue Plan Funds budget. This transfers $21,900 budgeted for the Love Center into an equipment account to allow for funds to be used to update equipment for the police department. This ordinance has been presented today for first reading, and the council will vote on it next week. Item 11 is new business. We have none today. We have one?
Excuse me, I'm sorry. I want to make a motion to untable the approving alcoholic beverage license for fourth quarter bar and grill at 1419 East Broad Street.
Okay. It's been a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Clerk, will you take the vote?
Those in favor to remove the resolution from the table, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries to remove it from the table.
Okay, I also want to make a motion to consider the issuance of those licenses today.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'd like to ask for a roll call vote for this.
All right. Then ask for a vote. I don't think we have a second. Did we get a second for that? Second. We have a second from Councilman Avery.
Okay.
All right. So we need to vote, Ms. Nelson, on to move it forward, or do we do the roll call vote now?
If I understand correctly, the motion is to consider the resolution.
Okay.
And we do have a second, so I will conduct a roll call vote. A yes vote means you would want to.
Do we need some discussion period?
Okay, yes, we
All
would
right.
have discussion.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Call for discussion.
Yes, I would like to, before, just to state some of the history with that particular place, with Bar and Grill at 1419 East Broad Street. My problem with that is that the history of selling to undercover agents, as well as to selling and operating after hours and selling after hours. There have been a lot of situations and circumstances with that particular establishment. I have a stack of issues where police have been dispatched to that particular area. So I just want it to be on record that I stated those.
All right, thank you. Any other comments? I'll let Ms. Nelson finish her note. All right, you can take the vote.
Councilwoman Latham?
No.
Councilman Smith?
No.
Councilman Avery?
Abstain. Abstention.
Abstain, okay. Councilman Back?
No.
Councilman Wilson?
No.
Councilwoman Minatra?
No.
And Councilman Robinson?
No.
The resolution is not adopted to approve the license.
Thank you. Are there any other items to be brought up for new business? All right, we'll move to item 12, which is department reports, committees, boards. Do we have any department reports or any committee reports? All right, that being said, we'll go to remarks by mayor and council. Councilman Robinson, since you'd already gotten warmed up, we'll let you let you kind of go in your continuation.
I don't want to repeat what I just said, but
let's.
I'll just say, look back on the film and see what I just said.
Well, I did see a lot of.
But great job from everybody up there. I mean, I don't know if I said earlier how organized it was. I got so many compliments from the citizens in the neighborhood up there and the neighbors about how organized that recovery was up there at Mitchell Community Center from the mayor's office. And a good job for them keeping me informed so I could keep the neighborhood watch pages informed, and everybody appreciate how we kept everybody informed of what was going on. But that's all.
Well, I know most of your time was spent in the neighborhoods, but I also saw on social media how the effort at Noccalula Falls, and now the falls is back open, so I'm assuming you probably had some contact there.
Yeah, they had tons of trees down there in the park. They were closed, and then also the trail system was pretty messed up. I mean, the whole area was messed up, but and the cleanup, it's way cleaner now than I thought it would be this short of a time because of Public Works getting out there and loading everything up on Saturday. But there's still some piles, and people are still cutting some trees, and you hear some chainsaws. But it'll take time. I think by Friday we'll be right back where we are. Beautiful
right.
District 7, Noccalula Falls.
There you go.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Manatra.
I just want to say thank you to the mayor's team, the whole staff, and I echo the organization. We're just very fortunate to have the team that we have to be able to make it through a disaster of that nature. So thank you.
Councilman Wilson.
Yeah, same thing. Great job, guys. Y'all look like a pack of those wild dogs running down from District 7. Good job.
Yes, it's moving like the pack of wild dogs down from District 7. Wide open, wide open.
All right. I have to nickname them the Wolf Pack.
That's it.
Councilman Avery.
From District 7 right into District 3.
Yeah.
I want to give a big shout out to Head Start. During their parent orientation, they had quite a bit of attendees. And so looking forward to a great school year. School begins with Head Start tomorrow. And so as a representative of District 3, I will be there to welcome the kids in, give them a big hug. I think we'll do a prayer and some other things. I have about 2 to 3 characters that's going to actually escort me out there with them. So I'm asking, this is a special request for any father that will be available, or maybe even those fathers that will be dropping their kids off tomorrow. If you'll come out and assist us at 7:30, our grandfather, uncle, cousin, male cousin, and that will assist us as we welcome our young kids into a new school year. Wish them the best. This is early education. We appreciate that program, do a lot of hard work and give. I learned something from that parent orientation, that they give a lot of resources, not only to the kids, but also to the families. So again, big shout out to Head Start, their program directors, and all of those that work with them. Again, that's 7:30 tomorrow at the headquarter location, which is 513 Henry Street. Summer Fling, August 19th, Shiloh Baptist Church at 1037 Tuscaloosa Avenue from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. There will be a back-to-school public safety awareness event. So we're looking for our chief of fire department and some others that will be out there giving some health information along with food, music, water slides for the kids, and many other things. It says bring family and friends and neighbors. Everyone is invited. Come have fun in the sun before the school year. August the 27th is District 3 Community Cleanup. This will be wrapping up our cleanup efforts for the year thus far as we go into planning for next year. If necessary, we will conduct some others this year if necessary. But August the 27th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m., volunteers are still welcome. We have quite a bit. We thank everyone that has been involved in our previous and those that are still interested. I get texts randomly here and there that they're going to sign up or they'll be coming out with us. Also, resources as it relates to hydration products. Also, please bring your own for those that are coming, but we also want to thank those organizations that also have given. And in that note, when it comes to commending Public Works for their involvement as it relates to our weather, we're also still in some need when it comes to just some trees that are down in District 3 in certain areas. So we're asking for those volunteers as well with chainsaws and things of that nature. We have a lot of seniors in our community that are in need of some trees removed from their property. The prices that they have been given are pretty steep. There's one big limb that is hanging at a senior house, and it is about $800 to get that thing cut down and removed. And so I was out there trying to throw a rope over it and try to pull it down to get it cut. And so it's a little too big for me. So for those volunteers, if you don't mind, just come out when you got time or give us a call and we'll assist you and do what we can with helping with that. I think that's all I have. Thank you so much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Avery. Councilman Smith?
Thank you, Mr. President. At the risk of sounding redundant, just want to tell everybody thank you for all your hard work, all the department heads, Public Works. These storms have been just disrespectful, but God continue to spare us, no fatalities. So to God be the glory for that. So thank you for everything that you've done. Coach Craves being here today from the high school, all the students that went out to help get some of this cleanup done. We want to tell you thank you. Also, just want to remind everybody about the Parent Symposium coming up on Saturday. Keynote speaker being Mr. Roland Martin. It's going to be at the venue. Make sure that you are registered. When they're catering a meal, registration is very important. Caterers take that seriously, so make sure you and your family and those attending with you are registered for this symposium, and we're looking forward to that. So I want to again thank the mayor, his staff, for all that you guys are doing. It's obvious. You can't hide what's obvious. That's noteworthy. So thank all of you. Thank the council. We appreciate you. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilwoman Latham.
Thank you, President Beck. Let me say thank you to those of you who are here in person as well as those of you who are viewing by way of social media. I echo the words of council members with respect to the efforts that went into cleanup and making sure that we're safe, from the EMA to our mayor. I will say this, just so as not to continue to say things, but the proof is in the pudding when it comes to the things that this administration is doing, as well as the council and those who are involved. So we're very grateful for that, and getting those notices, like even on, I think it was yesterday, where we were spared again. God spared us, but we did have the information that we needed just in case weather was as it was expected. So thank you so much for that. And I do echo the response of different council members as it relates to the first day of school on tomorrow. We are expecting and anticipating a very great year from our school system and from our students, and also we do support that and do want to try to be present on tomorrow. We have a couple of schools in our district. I do want to make an announcement. This is not in my district, but I was asked to make this announcement, and I received, I guess I should say, I was able to do that. through asking our president, as well as, this is in Councilman Smith's district, permission, if you better well say, from the president as well as the district council person for District 2. This is the pastoral anniversary of Pastor Edward and Lady Levada Jones. Pastor Jones is a business owner here in the city and sometimes has his truck here at City Hall. He is celebrating 26 years of ministry, and that is at New Canaan Baptist Church, and that's on August the 13th, 2023 at the 11th hour. The guest preacher for that hour would be none other than Reverend Charles Kirkpatrick, who is pastor of United Christian New Beginning Church, and dinner will follow after the worship experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Latham. Have a few announcements to make. There's going to be a hiring fair August 10th. This is this Thursday at the venue at the Coosa Landing. It starts at 10 a.m. We'll go to 2 p.m. There's dozens of local companies, hundreds of open jobs, on-site interviews and offers. You can go there Thursday to the venue and you can get a job. So family members and friends, if you know someone that's looking for a job, Thursday's the day. So we can go to the venue from 10 o'clock to 2 p.m. This is the Alabama Job Corps, I believe is the name. And my friend is, no, tell me the name. It got cut off at the bottom, I'm sorry. Alabama Career Center. All right, thank you. You know, you come every week, and we appreciate the job that you and your staff do for our community, because all you're trying to do is get people jobs, trying to find them work that they can find employment, therefore they can sustain themselves and their families. So thank you for what you do. We appreciate that. The next is another good announcement. This is the Community Development Project Golf Tournament 2000. This is going to be at Twin Bridges Golf Club, and it's August 19th when it starts at 8:30. My good friend John Reed. John, wave your hand in the back. If anybody needs this, a two-man scramble, $200 for each team. There's prizes and food, and main thing is have a lot of fun, but to raise money for the Community Development Project 2000. And I can tell you, if you don't know John Reed, let me just tell you, if John Reed is involved in something, then you need to be involved in what he's involved in.
I don't know if that's necessary. So what we're doing is we're feeding 200 families a month. And we hope the proceeds from the golf tournament will allow us to triple that.
Oh, wow.
Maybe give us 600 or 800 meals for these families on a monthly basis. So anybody that's a golfer who just wants to contribute, see me.
Well, thanks, John. That's y'all do a great job, and I'm gonna be kind to you, because anything you do, I want to be a part of. You're always helping people. Thank you so much. Want to reiterate school starting. Please watch your speed in your neighborhoods and especially around schools. I can't reiterate that enough. We get a lot of calls about speeding. Please slow down. You cannot be that important to be in that much of a hurry. So slow down and watch out for children. Watch out for parents walking kids to school. It's just that time of year. So please adjust your departure time from home, and please be cognizant of school starting. Also be aware, you've heard all the work that our city's been doing up on Lookout Mountain at Nakalula Falls in that area. This is going to put our Public Works Department behind their schedule. So please be patient with Public Works. We realize there's other areas of town that have debris on the side of the road, and I can assure you there's a list and it's being worked, but there's been an interruption. We've had we've had about 4 major storms in the last 2 weeks. So please bear with Public Works as they complete their jobs and get back to hopefully what's a normal routine. Yes, Brett. You want to have one more? We got, I was going to, while you're up there, there is just to remind everybody about golf carts on public streets. A golf cart is no different than an automobile. Your golf cart has to have seat belts, it has to have brake lights, it has to have headlights, and you must be 16 years of age to operate a golf cart on a public street. If you want your child to drive a golf cart, to maybe get used to driving, do it in your yard or put it on a trailer, take it out somewhere in a big field and do it out there, but do not do that on a public street. You're violating the law and you're putting a lot of people at danger. And so all too often, see a 10, 12, 14-year-old child driving a golf cart. It's illegal, and somebody's going to get hurt, and you're going to be very regretful for allowing your child to do that. So foretold is forewarned. You can't drive a golf cart on the city streets unless you're 16 years old, and you have to have a license, by the way, not just be 16. You have to have a license. I've had a lot of calls lately, and please remember that. Please be a good neighbor and a good citizen and a good parent. Take care of your child. They don't need to be driving a golf cart on a public street. Yes, Brett. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Sorry. On behalf of the mayor, I had a couple of things to add. Ruth Moffitt, if you'll make your way up, and while she's coming up, when you mentioned Public Works, wanted to remind the community dealing with this that if a contractor is engaged in removing debris from someone's yard, Public Works does not, and in most cases cannot, pick up that debris if they put it on the side of the road. In almost every case, a contractor is charging the homeowner for debris removal, and if they're putting it by the side of the road, really they're doing a disservice to the resident by charging them and not fulfilling that obligation to take it to the landfill. So we want to just make sure that's communicated. If you have a contractor working in your property, that it's very clear that they intend to carry that debris to the landfill, because we don't want to get in a situation of who said what kind of situation. The other thing is we're asking any volunteers or homeowners, as much as possible, when you cut those logs, to cut them as small as you can. What we have found is, in some cases, individuals have been able to push large logs to the side of the road from their property, and as was mentioned, the loader truck may not be able to even get around the base of it, or it may extend too long to fit in the bed of some of our trucks. So that creates problems where we can't complete our obligation to carry that stuff to the landfill appropriately. So the other thing, Councilman Avery kind of touched on it, is reminding individuals that the city workers are not allowed to go onto private property to remove debris outside of the right-of-way. So, which is why we have this situation of a call for volunteers, call for anybody who's willing and able to help, because we know that's a major need. And anybody that's got debris down, let us know, but we'll put you in touch with the people that have said we're willing to help, so that we can make sure that gets taken care of. And then I'll ask Ruth Moffitt to make one more announcement.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Did you say 2 more, John? Okay, 2 minutes. John said 2 minutes. Okay, so just a couple of things that I left off earlier that I want to make sure that I mention. Representative Mark Gitley, District 29, we do want to thank him because he came on site and shook hands and talked to people, as well as Jax. We want to really acknowledge them because they fed some of our crews up there, as well as our Public Works. That's 1 of my minutes. Okay, so and that wanted to mention that, Councilman Wilson, thank you. What you say, triple decker?
Yeah.
Okay, when we go eat. Okay. So micro enterprise program. So we want to make the council aware, as well as the citizens aware, that the application process has opened. As Councilman Beck said, we've had several storms, disasters. Yesterday we were in the EOC all day. We were in activation for the potential for bad weather. So it's been a little difficult to get this information pushed out to our community, but we're asking that the city council will help us in doing that. If you'll get it out to your constituents, and hopefully people that listen to city council meeting, if they'll go to cityofgadsden.com and put in micro enterprise 2023. Micro enterprise. So what is micro enterprise? This is awarded to eligible for-profit small businesses. It must be 5 or fewer employees. Either the owner, the business can be in a low to moderate income area, or the owner could be low to moderate income, or you could employ someone that's low to moderate income. It will provide $6,000 worth of services. So this is everything from marketing, helping you with your marketing, helping you with your business plan. We're looking at doing 10 businesses. We put a cap on it because it's our first year. Even if it's a startup business, it'll help you get your business license. It'll help you get all of your stuff in place appropriately. It's situated under the IDA. And so we will have a contract person that will be situated over at the IDA that will take care of all communications around it. It will have trainings to help small businesses, QuickBooks, loans, the good and the bad as it relates to that. It will also provide, the businesses must have multiple clients. Let me say that too. So if you go to cityofgadsden.com and put in 2023 micro enterprise, the application is situated there. We are looking at, or we plan to extend the deadline. Right now it says the 16th, and it's a small little packet that they have to fill out. They must certify that all information is correct. It is under our community development program. And so this is meant to help our small businesses in their endeavor to be business owners. So please help us get the word out. And like I said, through this meeting this morning, hopefully people that are interested, if they will share that information as well. If you have any questions, please contact Nasia Corbett in Community Development or Ruth Moffitt. Either one of us can answer your questions or appropriately direct you or help you with some of the information that you may need for the application. Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, Michael.
And if I could just kind of add on to that, I think she mentioned the community development page. The easiest way to get to that application is to go to the home page, and then on the drop-down menu, there's a list of city departments. And if you will go to community development, at the very top of that, it says micro enterprise applications are now available. There's a link. So that's the quickest way to get there. cityofgadsden.com, select the community development department, and it's right there at the top of the page.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Councilman Wilson.
Just point of personal privilege, since this will be happening simultaneous with our meeting next week, I just want to say congratulations to the Etowah County Commission and speaking of IDA on the groundbreaking that they'll be doing next week at the mega site out there for the big new water tank. I think it's a $500,000 water tank. For those of y'all who don't know, this big mega site that's out on the interstate, it's in the county. Several different groups and local communities have been continuously promoting and investing in this project. Norfolk Southern, I believe, has invested well over $5 million now into the development of this project, trying to recruit a giant manufacturing operation that could potentially bring thousands of jobs. So this is another big step forward for them and the county commission in the building of this big infrastructure and water tank, above ground water tank, that'll make that even more of a marketable site. So since we do work together, our IDA does work together with Etowah County to promote that site, I want to say congratulations. We'll talk later about why they scheduled the ribbon cutting dinner in our meeting, but no problem.
I appreciate you bringing that up. That's a big deal to have that water tank, and Norfolk Southern has $8.7 million that they've given. So great collaboration there. Good things are happening in Gadsden and Etowah County, y'all. Stay tuned. We are adjourned.
One last.
Oh, wait, one more. I'm
sorry.
I'm sorry. I thought I was.
I apologize for this last minute, but I just got this picture sent to me. We have a truck at our church right now, just pulled up as we speak, that they're unloading. If anybody's in the need of food, that'll be tomorrow, due to the storm tomorrow from 5 to 8. Look like they scheduled it while our millennials is there. Also, we built this facility for people to be able to shower, wash, and dry clothes. If anybody need to wash, dry, shower, or need food, that's tomorrow right across from the park, Station 6 in North Gadsden. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. That's very important news. Thanks, Councilman Smith. We are adjourned.